This is Virtual Professionalism 101. I'm Jordan Jobe, and I'm a campus recruiter at Ryan LLC. Today, I'll be speaking about pre-interview tips that I have, professional dress, virtual interviewing do's and don'ts, and what you should do after the interview. So some of my pre-interview tips would be updating your resume. So this would be before you even apply to a position. So making sure that you have no misspellings on the resume. My general rule of thumb is to have about 2 to 3 people check your resume after you complete it, because you've looked at it so much yourself to what you wrote on there, and you might not pick up on things that others may pick up on after they read it. And then having the same format across the resume for work experience. If you are going to put the dates worked, if you put the month and year to the month and year, making sure to do that across the board on all work experience. So everything should look clean, concise, clear on there. So keeping format across the resume. And then updating your work, education, and volunteer experience. So definitely make sure to put everything that's relevant on your resume. I have some people that say, oh, I just started a position a month ago, so did it. Still put that on there because it might be relevant to what you are interviewing for. And you can still talk about, I haven't been in the job that long. It's been 2 months, but this is what we've done so far. And this is what we're going to complete by May or whenever it is that you're ending that role. So make sure to put all of that on there. The other part on the resume is make sure the education piece is clear and at the top of the resume or near the top. This is something that recruiters are definitely going to look at once you're just graduating school or looking for an internship. So putting what degree you're pursuing, also your GPA, and anticipated graduation date. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, I started school in August 2017 to present. Graduates at different times. We're not sure when you're graduating, so we don't know whether to consider you for an internship or for full time. So making sure to put your anticipated graduation date on there as well. Do your research. This is very important. I've done a lot of phone interviews where I've asked somebody, why Ryan, or why are you looking into our company? And they'll just say, I'm just looking for a job in finance, and you're a finance company. Well, to us, that comes off as you're just looking for any job, and our company was one on the list that you applied to. You should make it more personalized to you and to that company, because it shows that you actually care and you put in the effort to go out and look before the interview. So I have a lot of people that come on the phone and say, I'm interested in corporate tax. I've had a class in that and it really sparked my interest. And also I looked up that you had a great company culture, and I'm really looking for a place that I can be that has good culture and I can be a long-term fit at. So just even putting 2 points in there that you looked up and found on the site, or that you know about the company, is more beneficial and is going to help you more so than just saying, basically admitting that you didn't do your research. So that is very, very important. Professional, I'll show you on the next slide of what professional dress looks like, but no matter if it's a virtual interview or in person, you should always dress business professional. It comes off like that you care about and that you're being professional in the interview as well. And then social media. I'll touch on this as well, but when you are interviewing, just making sure that everything that you have on your social media is appropriate. So even if you did a quick Google search of yourself, and making sure with what pops up as far as your social media goes, that the pictures are professional and nothing's inappropriate, just because some employers do go out there and search. That's not our practice, but I know that others just happen to do that. And so making sure that everything that people can see is appropriate. So professional dress for interviews. I do have a do and don't. Don't, you can see it just looks very casual and like they didn't try. So making sure to wear that blazer, sport coat, and dress professionally, especially in a virtual interview as well. So you just want to come off in a professional manner, and that you cared about the interview and you took the effort to do it, even if you're in your apartment interviewing. So always do business professional. And this is the social media piece. So this would be a LinkedIn. So making sure that your headline on LinkedIn is professional and actually depicts what you're looking for. So you can change looking for a summer 2020 internship, looking for a full-time consultant role starting May 2020. You can get creative with it and make sure that it comes across that way, because you can get positions through LinkedIn and people are constantly looking for candidates through there. So making sure your LinkedIn's up to date and professional, just like your resume. Virtual interview do's and don'ts. So I would say finding a non-space. I know that a lot of people are having to interview in their apartment, in their dorm room, in their house, wherever it may be. And I would just suggest doing it to find a space where you're not going to be distracted around the room. If there are items in the room that are going to distract you that you're going to stare at, or take those down, or make sure to use a different space. I know that we recently who interviewed with their cat in the room, and their cat started playing with their computer, so they picked it up during the interview while speaking and didn't even apologize and explain the situation. And that came off odd to our interviewers, and like they weren't taking the interview seriously. So considering all factors of the space that you're in. I've had someone else that had a roommate home while they were doing a video interview, and they got up and opened the door to tell them to be quiet while interviewing. Those come off not as professional in an interview. So making sure to plan ahead, telling your roommate, I'm doing an interview, if you can not be loud, or making sure ahead of time that you have a background that could just be the wall or something that's not distracting as well. And then checking your IT equipment beforehand. I suggest logging on to the video interview 15 minutes early to make sure your volume works, to make sure the video works and your connection in your apartment's working, just so you don't have technical difficulties in that interview. And then following up. Afterwards, I would just make sure to send the people who did interview you a quick follow-up email saying, thanks so much for the interview. You can even make it more personalized to what you spoke to them about, saying, I really enjoyed learning XYZ, and putting that in there. So I would recommend having a follow-up email as well. And then during the interview, making sure your body language, even if it is over video, is you have a good posture and sitting style. If you're going to use your hands to speak, making sure you're not doing crazy big motions with your hands. And if you do not speak with your hands, placing them in your lap while speaking, while on video as well. These are some of the best practices and a map to help guide you really to be professional on those virtual interviews. I know some of them can feel awkward because you're not in person and you're talking to a screen, but really making sure to act natural like you would in an interview. So making sure to speak normally and expand on things that you want professionally in that professional dress as well. And then lastly, taking the time to learn the company and their culture. You can still do this over virtual interviews. Ask the interviewers questions about their culture if you can't experience it in person, asking what their favorite part is about the company and the company culture and what they feel. These over virtual interviews, you just have to be a little more creative. If you have any questions about this or anything else, feel free to email me at jordan.jobe@ryan.com. And that was Virtual Professionalism 101.